Good evening, neighbors. We're back on the mic. This is Daniel.
And this is Katie.
Welcome back. Welcome back. We were checking through our iTunes reviews. We have a grand total of 1 review. Come on, guys.
Just one?
Step it up. We're doing this entire podcast for 1 listener. God bless you. This is like a one-on-one private conversation. I'm just kidding. If you're enjoying our podcast, the best way for us to expand our listenership, not that we don't want to talk to this listener of 1, is to leave a review, an honest review, and hopefully it comes with a 5 stars.
Yes,
right?
please.
So today we're going to kick off this episode with a email. So in the first podcast, we gave you our email, which was futureneighbor@gmail.com. And we asked you to send in if you have any like things that are on your mind. And our 1 listener,
It's the same listener?
she sent in an email. So I thought,
Thank you.
yeah, thank you.
Appreciate it.
It's our first thing. And we'll break down the email. We'll give you our response. And, you know, we also upload this podcast into our YouTube. So if you want to join in and give this listener of 1 your opinions, then feel free to write away in the YouTube comments. That way we can make it a little bit interactive.
Yeah, that'll be good.
Because like I always say, what we say is just, you know, it's just our thinking. It's one of many, a drop in the bucket of opinions. All right. So let's kick it off. I'm going to try to read her email, and hopefully I can do it in a voice that she doesn't get bothered by, but I only have 1 girl voice. So I'm 25 and my boyfriend is 28. He's Korean, born in Seoul, but raised in Australia, whereas I'm Chinese Vietnamese. Mm-hmm. So she's Chinese, part Vietnamese, and she's born in Australia as well. Uh-oh, we've got a pastor's kid. The boyfriend is a pastor's kid. Actually, I have a lot of friends who are sons of pastors. This seems to be like a common
amongst Korean
calling for Korean
Americans.
For Korean dads that go abroad.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of miscuing it. I mean, religion is kind of a calling. So anyway, besides the point, we live in Melbourne and his parents live in Cairns.
Way up north.
About a 3-hour flight. So they have considerable distance.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing though. So you guys been maintaining this long distance relationship?
No, I think his parents live in Cairns. I'm sure the guy lives closer.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah. Let's breeze through it. My parents, so the girl's parents, love the guy, which is rare since they hated all of my exes. Haha. Anyway, what do you think about mixed relationship? That's the first question. What do we think about mixed relationships? I mean, I think this one's a no-brainer.
Exactly.
Katie, knock it out of the park. What's our response to mixed relationships?
We're open to any.
Yeah, I think I know where she's coming from. Of course, it's cool to date anyone, but once you're on the path to marriage, there are things that are going to come up because you are raised in a different culture. Mm-hmm. So have different cultural values, and then when it comes to parents, they have different expectations, different mindset of the world. I think myself, what if I had dated a Spanish girl?
Yeah. What would your parents have reacted?
I think they would probably be like, oh, I'm sure most parents want someone that they can talk to.
Yeah, communicate
to. And naturally, that would be someone who speaks the same language and shares the same like upbringings, i.e. The same ethnicity, right? Because that covers what it is. So I think when we come to real life, there's going to be things, especially when it comes towards marriage, around that time when things get sensitive, expectations are different, and then you're going to have to fight through it.
Yeah, because it really depends on your parents, right? There are some parents who are very insistent on like the same ethnicity from early on. I know some friends whose parents were like, especially if your parents are living abroad, they are more likely to be more open to those kind of possibilities, right?
Okay, this is how I see it. A lot of those Korean parents that left Korea, they still hold on to the values of the same year when they left. So for example, if they left in the 1990s, they bring those values of Korean culture from the 1990s to their home, but it does get better. So if they're living in Australia or in the US, their horizons open up, they become more liberal, they become more open-minded. And so I think when it comes to interracial dating, I think most of them should be pretty cool with it.
But you raised a very important point, because it could be A or B. So the parents or the Korean parents living abroad could be either pretty liberal and open-minded, but they could come in the other extreme end. So their like beliefs and manners, or how you know family should be run, or how like your daughter-in-law should behave, or how your son-in-law should behave, it could be fixated on the times that they were raised back in Korea, like 20, 30 years ago. So I hear some cases where like the parents are more conservative, more strict than those parents in Korea right now. And then how they find it, how like the daughter-in-laws find it so much more difficult to adjust. Like for instance, like in Korea, when we have the special days like 명절, like say New Year's, Chuseok, a lot of things have like condensed now. Things are much simpler in terms of what you prepare to, or just
or the
like
expectation of daughter-in-laws.
Or
what you do as a family, it's much more streamlined, right? Some people order food.
Yeah, exactly. And it's very understandable because everybody else is kind of doing some similar things in Korea. So, and then obviously you talk with other mother-in-laws or other friends, and then they kind of like adjust their expectation.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry, I'm going to cut you there. What you're saying is that if the Korean mom or Korean dad lives in Korea, they interact with other Korean moms and Korean dads. And through that interaction, they could see sometimes how conservative their views are. And it forces them to like change
a little bit more open-minded.
Or become open-minded in their thinking. But if they move abroad, they might not have that interaction because they can't speak English.
Exactly.
So they stay at home all the time and they just talk between a wife and husband, and their traditional way of thinking, it doesn't really be challenged.
Yeah.
Right?
So it could be like their thoughts and beliefs could be fixed back many years back.
Yeah.
That could be pretty challenging.
That's tough. Yeah. That's tough. It's a good point.
But I don't know how this girl's boyfriend's parents are like.
Okay, let's move on with the email and we'll come back. We'll wrap these points because I have one urging thing that I would just like to say, which is like, screw the parents if you guys are good, and then just be good until you guys have a kid and the parents will all come around at the end. But pretend I didn't say that. I mean, that is a truth bomb right there without any packaging or anything like that. Anyway, we continue. The second thing she says is, what are some thoughts to consider for myself when I meet his parents? What do I buy as gifts? I'm so nervous and scared for the day that my mind is spiraling on worst case scenarios.
I feel you.
I could feel how much run-on sentences is going on right now at the end of this paragraph. So, but that's totally natural. Even the thought that you wrote to us to find out and get advice just means that I think you really want to make this work out. And I think it also shows how much you care for him. Yeah. I think that's great. If the boyfriend is listening, boy, you better defend your girlfriend when that time comes when she's in front of your parents. That's
the role of the boyfriend is super important.
Yeah. I think the guy has a huge responsibility. So if the guy cares,
speaking from your own experience,
yeah, for sure. If the guy cares for you enough, I think he's going to be just on edge as well. And the guy has a tricky thing because no matter how beautiful, how wonderful you are to your parents, his son is going to be more 아까워. What do you call 아까워 in English?
More valuable?
More valuable. That's a strange way to say it, but the parents are going to see more faults in the in you than the guy, because that's his son, right? That's his only son.
They're gonna come in with that sharp critical eye.
Critical eye, yeah. They won't say anything, but that passive aggressive energy, it was great. And then in the car ride home, oh my God, what is this and that?
Well, did your mom say that about me?
No. The boyfriend has to appease the parents, but at the same time, they have to also balance your parents' expectations. So you could press your girlfriend just a little bit, but then you have to press back against your parents more. So if you have to choose a side, always has to be, you have to side with your girlfriend. And the guy has to be pretty suave about that. And if he does well, then all of this kind of small bumps, it feels smaller.
Yeah.
But the girl, of course, if she like you're making all this effort, it makes that balancing act even easier.
Yeah. What are some efforts that she can make?
When it comes to the dinner, when they first meet, first impressions are everything.
Yeah.
First impressions are so huge. I mean, beyond just
so
like
important.
this context of email, but in business or whatever it is, they're gonna make up your mind in like the first 15 seconds when they see you. That's out of your control.
Yeah.
The first 15 seconds is a high, and based on what you look like, what you
like the smile you
have, the atmosphere, the energy, that is already fills 70% of their first impression. But then the later 30%, you can really that's in your control. I think.
It can come through conversations.
Yeah, they're gonna meet at dinner. You definitely do want to bring a gift. In Asian culture, you always have to bring something. So in like the States and Western, like when you meet your girlfriend's parents, oftentimes you do that early on in the relationship and it becomes very casual. But in Korea, the context is you only introduce your parents to your boyfriend or your girlfriend when you think this is the one.
Yeah, just like you said, in Korea, it's not very common for like you to introduce your boyfriend or girlfriend until like you officially decide to marry.
Yeah.
And most likely you do that before 상견례, which is meeting between your parents and your boyfriend's parents.
Yeah.
We even have a word for that called 상견례.
Yeah.
That's how official it becomes.
Yeah. And we have our own fair share of stories about that.
Yeah.
I got so lost in
상견례.
translation. I was so nervous for that myself.
Yeah, but the fact that we have a word for it and a special day for them makes everything look so much more serious
official.
and like nervous.
So is it in Korean culture? Because I wasn't raised here completely, so I don't know. But is it really that you don't invite your boyfriend or girlfriend to see your parents until
until you're pretty serious, I
that
guess.
You're going to get married?
I mean, it could be different. Like if your family is a little bit more casual and maybe more open-minded, it could be different.
Yeah.
But yeah, for a regular normal Korean person, it's not very common to just introduce your boyfriend casually or invite him for dinner with your parents.
That's true.
What do we suggest as gifts? I think Hanu would be good if they're not vegetarian.
But they're in Australia. Getting Hanu is tough. It has to be exported. For the dad, it's very easy. Get them the red ginseng, the hongsam.
Yeah.
That one is a no-brainer. Red ginseng extract. That one is the kind of the cure-all kind of energy vitalizer that all Korean parents. It's very expensive, but getting this small extract one, I think there's a jar that you can scoop out version. Yeah. That one is good. And
that's a good one.
Yeah.
That's something that we get a lot too for our parents.
I got your dad that too a couple of times. And then for the moms are always tough. It's so tough to buy women gifts. But something that she would use, you know what I was thinking? What about 화분, live plant? Like a small one that she can put in her house.
Yeah, I think that would be nice.
Yeah, that wouldn't be bad, I think. That could be pretty neutral. Or I know what it is. If you know that the mom does some sort of activity, like she's really into yoga, or for example, my mom's really into golf. And whenever she comes into Korea, all of the golf wear in the US is just too big for her, doesn't fit her. So she's always in Korea going trying to find the Korean brands and then buying like those little golf skirts and stuff like that. And she just absolutely loves that. Yeah. So if your boyfriend's mom is into that, then I think that would be good. She also asked about what things should I consider when meeting his parents. So I think if you made a big effort to know or to show that you actually know some of the basic ones,
like Korean etiquette.
Yeah, and there's not that much in a dinner setting. I'll give you 3 that you can remember and would make really good. So number 1 is typically in Korean families, you don't eat until the dad starts lifting up his utensils first. So if you're all sat around the table, in any family, sometimes some families would pray and then start eating. Yeah. Well, actually, he's a pastor, so I'm sure he would start off by praying. But at the end, don't reach for the chicken first with your chopsticks. Like, oh, I'm so delicious. And go straight in. Just what you can say is 맛있게, which means... actually, I should say it whole. 맛있게 드세요, which means please eat deliciously. So it's kind of a set phrase. I'm sure your boyfriend can help you with that. And then wait for him to lift up your chopsticks, grab something, and then you're good. That's just, Korean culture. So that's one thing, a phrase, and then waiting for him to eat. And then if he does drink, this is a small thing, but it reminds him that Korean cultural thing, which bring him sense of comfort, is that if it comes to drinks, when you receive alcohol, you want to receive it with 2 hands. And then when you drink, you kind of look away from the oldest person at the table. So if it's most likely the dad, so you don't want to look at him straight in the eye and take a shot. You want to look away slightly and then take a shot. So that's generally what happens, even in corporate settings. Like if you have the big boss at the table, no one looks at him and does like shots. You kind of look to the side slightly, take a shot, and then come back.
Yeah. It could be right or left.
Could you imagine at the parents' reaction if she was doing all of that straight up? They would be so impressed, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that would leave a great impression.
Exactly. They wouldn't say it on the spot, but they would like talk between them later on.
Exactly. In that car ride home, they'll be like, Omo. Did you see that she said all these things? And she even has the etiquette to look away. Wow. Amazing. It makes you feel more Korean to them. Yeah. Which brings them more comfort.
And one thing is always like use 2 hands. When you want to pass something or receive something. So like, let's say the dad is like, oh, can you pass me that cup? You hand it over with 2 hands. You know what though? If I go back into my shoes when I met your parents, and especially your dad for the first time. You were nervous.
I was so nervous. Like, I'm all like... saying it now as if it's like, oh, just say this and that. But actually, when you're in there, your mind is kind of racing a lot and you just want them to have a great impression so that everything works out smoothly. I remember we had so much good food. I didn't touch anything. I barely touched anything. Your dad would be like, eat. I'd be like, sure. Take one thing, be like, all right, what should I say next? All right, what's going on next? Yeah. And the next thing I know, I see my dress shirt. There's a little puddle coming underneath my armpit. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Funny.
Oh my gosh. It's getting too big. Damn alert. It's
but I was nervous too. And I just like waiting for the time to tick.
Yeah. Your email, that anxiousness, we feel it. But I also want to say life is it's gonna happen the way it's gonna happen. It's great that you're making the effort and you should. There's some things that are out of your control. And I'm sure it's not going to come out as bad as you think in your mind. It's going to land somewhere in the middle, more on the good side. So don't worry too much.
I agree.
And then I don't know if you're eating at the house or if at the restaurant. If it's at the house, after you're done eating, take the dishes to the dishwasher. And the mom's going to tell you, no, sit down. But don't be like, all right, okay, fine. And then just sit down quickly. try to kind of
so with the Korean language, you never take it at the surface level.
Yeah, that's
if
tough.
they say no, it's okay, rest, then you should never consider it as it is.
Yeah, yeah.
Ask 2, 3, 4 times.
Ask your boyfriend. If they say no, 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 then what you say is no, 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 and then you you take the dish. She's like, no, 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 I'll do it, and then you go no, 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 I'll do it, and you gotta go back and forth about 3 times, and then you're truly Korean.
Yeah, because also with the paying, when it comes to paying in Korea, like at restaurants, it's always, you always see that scene between like 2 people. No, 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 I'll pay. No, 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 I'll pay. And then doing that, and the person at the back is like, when are you gonna finish?
Now in Seoul, it's funny. The cashiers will just take the card. They'll be like, no, no, no. They'll just take the card, the one that's closest, and then process the payment quickly. I think they're sick of it.
Yeah, you don't really see that in other cultures. like let's say in America, I'll say, oh, I'll pay, and then the other person's like, oh, thanks.
Yeah. And then, of course, I mean, this is just general. I mean, if the person has cooked for you, if it's a home-cooked meal, then just keep praising her on the food. Because even me, when I cook for somebody, I'll pretend all cool. I won't say anything, but I'm kind of waiting for validation.
Yeah.
Like, oh, it was great. And, you know, even if it tastes nasty, ask for a Tupperware and ask if we could take some home. Because that just means the world. Because Korean moms, they show their loves not by the I love you. They never say that.
Exactly.
Any Korean kid will testify to that. It's more through their cooking and consistency. So Korean parents like to show their love through action more than words.
And if you show some knowledge of like the Korean food, which I'm sure you are, since you are following our channel, they will appreciate it a lot.
Yeah. So let us know how it goes. I mean, you should update us. Would be curious to see how it went. I'm sure it's going to be just fine.
We're supporting for you.
We'll root you on. Based on this, I'll share a funny story. When I was, because again, like I'm coming from the Western mindset, so I went through a similar episode like you. Right before I proposed to Katie.
Oh my God. Are you revealing it now?
Oh my gosh.
I don't know if people will even like
appreciate how much craziness we went through. Oh. So I was thinking in my head, like, and I was like I was like nervous. I was like, all right, now is the time. I'm gonna propose to Katie. And I don't know, the thought struck me in my mind like last minute, the day before, or maybe 2 days before we were going to go to Jeju. And I was like, I should give Katie's mom a heads up that I'm going to propose to her daughter. You know, your mom is in on it, and it's, you know, her daughter. This is my rationale. It'd be really nice and be very respectful of me to like indirectly get her approval first. Yeah. Even though you don't necessarily need like an approval, right? It's just I'm proposing to you and that should come first. But in a way, it's showing respect and deference. Yeah. So I called Katie's mom. And Katie's mom was busy at work. So this must have caught her out of the blue, like deep blue. Still remember how shocked your mom was. She was like, hello? She's like, is something wrong? Why are you calling me in the afternoon? I was like, no. It's just like, and she's like, Daddy, I'm really busy. What's wrong? And I'm like, oh, no. Like, I was just wondering, like, you know, I've been dating Katie for almost 7 years. And I think, she's like, Daniel, please. Are you guys, what's happened? Did you guys fight? I was like, no. I want to propose to her. And she was like, propose?
She's like in her mind, 뭔 소리고?
Which means, what does that even mean? So, yeah, I was just like, I'm going to propose to her. And she's like, she was so confused. Because I don't think she understood the word propose. Like she didn't know where it fit in this marriage context, right? Because the Korean traditional way is what? Actually, you should break down the normal way that couples break it to their parents, like that they're ready. For example, if we were like very Korean style, you and me would already have the wedding date.
Oh, so basically proposal is a Western concept, right? It was never in Korea historically. I'm sure it's, I think all across Asia. And like back in my parents, when they were like in their 20s or 30s, I don't think any of them actually did like this proposal thing, surprise, and then yeah. So my mom wasn't like familiar with this.
But how is it done? It's
right,
a long time ago. You generally like grab a date first, and then you go to the parents asking for approval, and then the parents will say yes or no, and if they bless it, and then you'll get like the engagement ring. Sometimes they buy it like 1 month before the actual wedding date.
Did your parents have an engagement ring? I don't think there was even an engagement ring.
No,
just a wedding ring.
Yeah. So Korea's in this flux of like half of the people want to do it Western style, half of the people do it traditional style, and it just depends on where your family fits. And then, because remember when I was at the jewelry store, and then they're like, so do you have your wedding date set already? And I was like, no, I'm just looking for engagement rings.
Oh, because in Korea, proposal is a different meaning.
What does it mean?
So proposal is just another step you have to go through before you marry. So there's no surprise about proposal.
Yeah, it's not a surprise proposal.
Yeah, you just the guy and the girl decide to marry through conversation or whatever.
So you set the date, you get approval, and then the girl just expects you at some time to show her a ring.
Yeah.
After you know you're going to get married.
There's no surprise.
Yeah. So that's why I give you this context. Because then I called Katie's mom and I was like, I'm going to propose. And she's like, what? You guys are getting married? When have you set a date? That's what your mom's told me. And I was like, no. I was like, no. This is going a weird way. No. That's not what I mean. She's like, Daniel, like, you're throwing so many things at me. It's like, can we talk about this later?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, but I remember asking this, but is it okay if I propose? And she's like, huh? That should be between you and her.
Yeah, she was confused why you were asking her
because the word
permission.
Because the word propose comes at a different meaning, right? Yeah. After you had the wedding date, she's like, you guys are already getting married. Why didn't you guys even come for approval? And she said, okay, I need to talk with my family and call me later when I have time. Because then I need to think about this, right? And then I took it as like, oh my God. I never thought she would reject me. Oh my gosh.
After all these years.
Yeah, after 6 years of like all this time spent, and the reaction was, I gotta think about this. And so I was like, oh my God, it's crazy. I come home, the flights to Jeju was already booked.
And then me, that night on the way back home, I didn't know that you called my mom. And then,
guys, this is 2 days before the surprise engagement.
Yeah. And then I get a call from my mom, and she's like, did you know that Daniel called me today? And I'm like, oh no, what did he say? He's like, he said that he wants to propose to you.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
That's how the bomb got dropped.
Never in my life would I have ever expected that curveball, that your mom would call you right away and tell you that I wanted to propose. But it must have been so perplexing to her, right?
Yeah, I mean, this must be a shock to many of you guys listening, but this is just the level of like understanding about this word is so different.
Different meanings.
Yeah, so like my mom was so perplexed and she got so confused why he's like calling me to ask for the permission, not you directly.
She thought I was asking, can I marry her to her mom instead of asking the girl. And then
so all our surprise got ruined.
I just remember, she's on the phone with someone for a long time. And then your face, when you came in the door, it looked like you had seen a ghost. And I was like, what's wrong? She's like, nothing. I was like, who are you on the phone with for that long? I know that's your mom. And you're like, oh, nothing. And then you just went.
No, but I can't blame my mom because she's totally from a different world, right?
Yeah. And so that surprise was ruined. But
But how did you make up for it?
You guys know me. You guys know me. Dana boy. Coming to thinking plan B. I was just like, oh my gosh, all right. We still have all of these like hotels booked or the Airbnb booked at Jeju. We have all of this like sunk cost. It's going to happen.
Sunk cost.
It's going to happen. So I spoke to you for like 2 hours telling you, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? I don't even want to get married right now. It's not time. I don't even have the money to buy a ring right now. What ring do you see? Ain't no ring here. And so I literally went down that line of like rationale. Like, it's not even time to get married right now, Kitty. I'm not even sure myself. Like, remember, I said all these crazy things for like an hour, 2 hours, right?
Yeah.
And my best line was this. I'm going to Jeju to relax. But now this proposal thing is over my head, and it's just, what a terrible thing. Because when the time comes, yeah, I'm thinking of proposing, but it wasn't this weekend. And now your mom just messed up because she didn't understand my Konglish, and now this relaxation weekend turned into a proposal weekend. This is terrible. Like, come on. Let's just mind control. That's not what it is, okay? All right? Were you really convinced to some degree? Or no?
Yeah. I was, but I was doubting myself, half and half.
You were on a half and half?
Yeah, is he really gonna do it or
50,
not
50.
gonna do it?
And so then the next day, I opened up my bag and I was like, Katie, all right, really, look at my bag. Look at my bag. Do you see any rings? It's not going to happen, so don't think about it, right? I'm not saying this to be mean. It's just this wasn't the time. And so I showed you the inside of my bag and everything, right?
Where was the ring?
I hid it in my boxers and I stuffed it in the bottom of a secret pouch in my backpack. Yeah. Life ends up turning out, and at least in our lives, it never goes from A to B straight. It goes left, right, side to side, up, down, north to west, and then reaches this destination. So even if this dinner doesn't come out exactly as planned, the most important thing is that you and the dude are good, are one, and then you guys can really take on anything. You know, on this subject about love and marriage, when I was in my old firm, I remember my CEO gave me a book. I still remember the thing he said to me. He said, Daniel, copy me in my business moves, but don't copy me in my personal life. I failed in 2 marriages, and there's one book that have finally woken me up.
What is the book?
The 5 languages of love. Oh, no, the 5 love languages.
Oh, I never seen that book with you.
I gave it to you, but you're like, psst, and you tossed it. But it's a very interesting topic. It just came to mind, but it's basically, the premise is that there's 5 different ways that people experience love, and everyone has this quote unquote love language. So there's 5 types. There's one which is like you experience love through words. Number 2, your love language could be physical touch. So if you're like hugging, kissing, being romantic, that's when you really feel love. Or number 3, some people really like feel loved through gifts.
Yeah.
So if someone is thoughtful enough to make you something, or go to the mall and bring you something, you really feel, I feel really loved. Number 4 is being able to spend quality time with someone, uninterrupted quality time, and that's when you really feel connected. And then the last one is
acts of service. When
someone cooks a meal for you, does your laundry, or maybe does the tasks that you do, but they thought of you and were able to do it for you. I read through the book, and I know which one I am.
Me too.
What is it?
For you?
Yeah.
You are the physical touch.
That's right, yo. That's right, yo. Y'all want to show me love? Hug me, kiss me, cuddle me, big spoon, little. All right, I'll stop. Yeah.
Then he was so medieval style.
Medieval style. I'm not refined. So
Tarzan.
Actually, let me pull this up real quick, this little chart. All right, so what does it say? So if my love language is physical, then what are things to avoid?
Physical neglect.
So if you don't give me hugs or kisses, then I feel like I don't feel loved. Out of those 5, I think for sure. I'm a very simple person.
What is the next after physical touch?
What do you mean?
What's the second one?
Oh, for me?
Yeah.
I know for sure words of affirmation. Like, I don't really care. I don't really need encouragement.
Really?
My personality type, I'm
No, but what are some actions to take for words of affirmation? Text?
yeah, like encouraging someone.
Like, I love you, saying all these things?
No, like, being tender with someone with your words. Like, I think you're really great at doing this. I really like affirming someone. Like, I don't need that. I mean, not that I don't need it. If you say it to me, it just goes through one ear and not the other. I don't feel loved by it. Like, I don't feel like this person like really loves me through that.
So what's your second most important one?
I think acts of service.
If I did the laundry for you?
Yeah, I mean, something like that. For example, I do those YouTube videos, right? Like those YouTube cooking videos. Yeah. And then if you, for example, suddenly stop me and say, hey, don't do the dishes. I think it was really tough today. Let me do it for you.
Here is Daniel making me do all the dishes and clean up after his YouTube filming.
This is hilarious. Then I feel like really like,
oh, he's so clever. This is your way of telling me to do all these things.
That's right. This is indirect therapy. Like, I would feel like, oh man, she really cares for me. How about you, Katie? Let me guess what you are.
Yeah. What's my number one most important?
I think there's 2. One of them, for sure, receiving gifts. You love it when I give you gifts.
And surprise gifts.
Yeah, surprise gifts. You get so
unexpected
happy by.
Gifts.
You get so much 감동.
Of course.
And then I think words of affirmation. But I give you so much words of affirmation, I think you've grown numb to it. So I take that back. I think you've been smothered by my love language. Receiving gifts for sure. And then
the other one for me would be quality time.
Oh, really?
What is that?
No. That wasn't like oh, really? No, I meant I meant like, oh, really? The English language is quality time. What does it say for quality time? It says that I should give you uninterrupted and focused conversations. One-on-one time is important. We do this every weekend.
Yeah, like taking walks or like, going to cafes together and like having the time to chill together. Just, casual things.
Actions to take. Create special moments. Take walks and do small things with your partner. Things to avoid. Distractions when spending time together, like looking at your phone. Everyone is wired differently. And if you are able to know what your quote-unquote love language is, I think it's nice because you can communicate that to someone. Being like, hey, I really like physical touch. I really like receiving gifts.
Why are you laughing?
No, because I just said it in such a blunt way, which, like trying to say it nicely. But, hey, I like receiving gifts and being able to communicate that to someone, and hopefully they take that in. And if they don't, then that's an issue. Guys, one of my college friends, they sent on a group chat this website called I think it was called 16personality.com. Mm-hmm. And it's a free Myers-Briggs personality test. Mm-hmm. And this one is online and it's very simple. Mm-hmm. So I've taken a lot of these personality tests, or this one specifically, quite a lot. I took it while at work in my previous job, and it always comes out consistent.
Really?
Yeah. Mine is ENTJ. And
what is that?
A commander. Or sometimes I come out as either a visionary or the commander type.
Oh, does that fit your style?
I think this Myers-Briggs is so spot on, it's scary. There's some people who say it's not. I mean, of course, I mean, there's so many different people. But for me specifically, it's so accurate that when I read this, I get goosebumps sometimes. Ooh. So, for example, Hold on, guys. Let me pull this up. All right, I found it. So ENTJ is commanders are natural-born leaders. People with this personality type embody the gifts of charisma and confidence and project authority in a way that draws crowds together behind a common goal. However, commanders are also characterized by an often ruthless level of rationality, using their drive, determination, and sharp minds to achieve whatever end they've set for themselves.
Whoa, so brutal.
I know. In another quote, they say, commander personality types are strident ones, though, able to adapt themselves to just about any hierarchical relationship by doing what they do best, asserting their opinions, taking the initiative, and accomplishing feats that others thought impossible. So I think that was my general mindset when I was working at my previous company too. But the weakest part for me, and I know myself, is that I'm very blunt with my opinion. And then sometimes when I see, I don't know, I think there's a lack of empathy. Like if I have a goal, in mind, and someone doesn't see the vision, when I see it so clear, it's kind of like my way or the highway type mentality. And then if you get hurt by something that I say, or like you're not throwing the right level of energy, I just ignore you and move on, and it's fine. I get nothing. Like it doesn't really.
Yeah, you're not a like sensitive type at all.
No, I think I have dragon skin.
Oh, I just imagined you having that dragon skin.
But Katie, that's actually why we fight a lot. A lot of the reason is because of that, right? Because I say things to you so bluntly, and you get very
hurt.
You get very hurt by it. But in my mind, that's what the situation is, and what was required. But you always go, it's not what you said, it's how you say it.
That's so true.
Right?
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of like listeners will relate to that. Yeah. It's not about the things you say, it's about your tone.
I know. It's tough. That one's tough.
I have the same conversation with my other girlfriend. She's like, when we're on the phone, and she's like, I'm so annoyed with my boyfriend because like it's just the tone of his voice. It annoys me. And you can say the same thing, but like with the gentle tone, caring tone, or just the very commander-like tone.
I think what it is for me is that I could switch on and off, but when I have a goal in mind and I'm switched on, it's very hard for me then to like put on my empathy panties and turn really soft really quickly. And if I accidentally bumped into someone, I might say sorry, but I'm not going to be like, oh my God, look at the crease in your jeans. How are you going to get that out? Like, Katie, and how about you? I made you take that. What
was mine?
And
I always forget mine. It's so difficult to remember.
I loved Katie's reaction when she finished this.
하지마.
I was like, Katie, what was yours? And she was like, these things are stupid anyway. I was like, what? Share it to me because I want to learn about yours a little bit more so I could like, see where your weaknesses and strengths are. And she was like, it's not even accurate. I was like, just send it to me. And it came out that she was a ISFJ, which they nickname as the Defender.
Yes, so you're the commander and I'm the complete opposite of Defender. How funny is that?
No, Katie's
reaction. That's why we have conflicts.
Of course. That's why Katie, when she was like, how come you get the cool ones?
That's so true.
I don't want to be defending anything. I want to go attack. I was like, Katie, this is not a war. This is not a war trivia personality thing. This is you
go and do all the fun thing like hunting, and I'm just have to take care of the house.
You have to defend the fort. No, it's not. That's not what it is. But I read through this, and I think it's very accurate. Even if this is not the title that you want, some of the things that they describe, I think is so true.
Okay,
for example,
let's look through it.
For example,
I'm shy.
Humble and shy. Katie, I think those two words, especially the humble part, is so dead on, right?
Yeah, but it's not a good thing.
No. It's not like a good or bad thing. It's just what it is.
No, but I have this complex about hearing people tell me that I'm humble because my mom growing up, she hated it when I acted humble. And then she'd always get so angry. You're just so humble and all this.
Oh, but
so
it's
I
a
have
great
this
thing.
big complex.
It's being humble when you haven't achieved anything. Is okay. That's a problem. But being humble when you have achieved stuff is great. It's a great quality. This is what the description says. The meek shall inherit the earth, but it's a long road if they receive no recognition at all. This is possibly the defender's biggest challenge, as they are so concerned with others' feelings that they refuse to make their thoughts known or to take any duly earned credit for their contributions. Defenders' standards for them are also so high that knowing that they could have done some minor aspect of a task better, they often downplay their successes entirely. Isn't that you right there? That, for example, when you're done with a presentation, you'll be like, oh, but someone said this one small minor tweak, and you're like, this is like terrible. Or you came and you graduated from one of the top tier universities in London, and you never mention it. You never self-promote yourself, and you never talk about it. That was so strange for me too. But that's just who you are. That's just part of your personality. And it's great as you achieve more things, right?
Yeah, it's because it just never comes to me to say it.
And then number 2, the bad thing. Okay, we're going to get to the strength. We just happen to be on the weaknesses part right now. Take things too personally. Defenders, while the commander has dragon skin, defenders have trouble separating personal and impersonal situation. Any situation is still an interaction between two people after all. And any negativity from conflict or criticism can carry over from their professional to their personal lives and back again. Oh my God.
너무 안 좋은 것만 얘기하지 마.
Repress their feelings. People with the defender personality type are private and very sensitive, internalizing their feelings at a great deal, much in the way that defenders protect others' feelings. They must protect their own, and this lack of healthy emotional expression can lead to a lot of stress and frustration. Katie,
I sound like someone with like problems with emotions.
No. Now we get to the good part. Defenders are the universal helpers, sharing their knowledge, experience, time, and energy with anyone who needs it, and all the more so with friends and family. People with this personality type strive for win-win situations rather than trying to outcompete someone else, choosing empathy over judgment whenever possible.
Yeah, I enjoy sharing things with other people, like especially knowledge, even at work too. So I think that part is pretty true.
Anyway, guys, we were just wanting to share a few of, quotes from this personality. I think it's good to know your partners. Take the test and see. I mean, it might be, of course, you might not map identically to the paragraphs, but there are snippets that you can share with each other, and it's fun. It's fun to know. I mean, you'll see why you fight a lot. Like, I know I need to work on a lot of things as well. Katie's eyes.
Yes, Commander. I enjoy watching K-dramas, but now there's an audio version of K-dramas.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Audio?
Yeah.
So you can just listen to it?
Yeah, I started listening to it. You just hear it from the audio, but you can imagine it so well. And like, somehow I get into that script much more strongly than just watching a scene.
Interesting.
Yeah. There was an audio sound for a love scene too. They were kissing and stuff. This is nothing like 18 plus, but somehow there was a kissing scene and you can just hear all the sound.
Wow.
It was so interesting, and I love it because
where can you listen to it?
It's made by this Korean version of Google called Naver. You can download the app called Audio Clip.
Oh, wow.
But they just started rolling this kind of stuff out. It's kind of experimental, I think.
I could see that getting big.
Yeah, but it's much more convenient because I can just listen to it and carry on with my work at the same time. I thought that I wouldn't really get into it as much because it's just audio. But no, it's not. It's like different...
Do they have like two characters, or is it just one person narrating?
No, it's two different. They're acting.
Oh, wow.
with their voice.
How do they go from like a? Do they change like settings? For example, are they in a kitchen and then in a restaurant and then in a house, or
Well,
is it just one long like monologue going back and forth? Or
yeah, they change scenes. So there's like the background music. So if they're in a cafe, you'll hear like they'll do background music with the cafe people chatting, or like coffee, here's number 5, coffee 가져가세요, or stuff. Then you will get that. Or like if they're outside, you will hear the wind. Obviously, there's no B-roll, right? So the sound, background noise plays a very important part.
But now you can't see the actor or actress's face.
No.
And a lot of people watch K-drama for their pretty boy and pretty girl face actresses.
But it's played by pretty girl and pretty boy. You know, it's played by famous actors and actresses. So you can
really?
imagine.
It's played by the same actor or actresses?
It's done by famous actors and actresses.
I see.
Like,
so you could recognize their voice.
Yeah, like the one that I was listening today was played by Kang So-ra and Kim Dong-woo.
What's the name of the one you're listening to?
남과 여.
That means boy and girl.
But it's all in Korean, so I don't know if our listeners can actually like use this.
Very interesting, Katie. You have to give us an update about that.
Yeah.
I think that's it for today. Did a deep dive into all sorts of... Well, I think it was around love, marriage, personality types, love languages.
Yeah.
Very nice.
It was a fun one.
Yeah, and about our botched proposal surprise in the beginning.
Yeah, that was such a big event. Like, so scandalous.
But ended up well. Life is going to end up well for you, for all, as long as you give us a 5-star review. I'm just kidding,
yes,
guys.
Commander.
Yeah. We loved receiving emails. So again, email us at futureneighbor@gmail.com if you want our opinion on something.
Oh, so by the way, some people got it confused with the spelling of neighbor. So it's the American way of neighbor. So the British and the Australian way of spelling neighbor is with O-U-R. So I think this this girl also kind of sent it to the wrong email at the beginning.
It's FUTURENEIGHBOR.
Yes.
At gmail.com. See you there. See you guys next week. We loved having you.
Yes.
And we'll be back.
I wish you a great week.
Adios.
Bye.